What would you do if, after fighting for 3 long years in court to reclaim your stolen mandate, you finally became governor? Only to be thrown out of office just 8 months later? For most politicians, that would have been the end of their story, a crushing defeat too heavy to bear. But for Peter Obi, it was only the beginning of one of the most dramatic political comebacks in Nigerian history. This is the story of how Peter Obi was impeached in 2006, how he fought back against the political establishment, and how he reclaimed his seat as governor of Anambra State against all odds. Peter Obi's political journey began with frustration. In 2003, he contested for the governorship of Anambra State under the platform of the All Progressives Grand Alliance, APGA. But the declared winner of that election was Chris Njige of the People's Democratic Party, PDP. For many, that would have been the end of the road. After all, PDP was the ruling party, and the system was heavily tilted in its favor. But Obi was different. Instead of conceding, he went to court. For almost 3 years, the case dragged through the judicial system. Court appearances, adjournments, legal technicalities, it seemed endless. But Obi refused to give up. Finally, on March 15, 2006, the Court of Appeal declared him the rightful winner of the 2003 election. On March 17, 2006, Peter Obi was sworn in as the governor of Anambra State. It was a moment of triumph, not just for Obi, but for all Nigerians who believed in justice and the rule of law. But his joy was short-lived. Barely 8 months later, disaster struck. On November 2, 2006, the Anambra State House of Assembly impeached Peter Obi. The charges? Gross misconduct, abuse of office, and financial mismanagement. To the public, these accusations looked suspicious. Obi had barely settled into office. He was introducing reforms, cutting unnecessary government spending, and insisting that public funds must be managed prudently. These moves, while popular with ordinary citizens, threatened powerful political interests. Many observers believed the impeachment was politically motivated, an attempt by entrenched forces to remove a man who refused to play by their corrupt rules. For the first time in Nigeria's history, a female governor emerged as Obi's deputy, Dame Virginia Itiaba, was sworn in as the new governor of Anambra State. The people of Anambra were shocked. Many felt betrayed. Obi's fight for justice had inspired them, but now it seemed history was repeating itself. Was this the end of Peter Obi's political journey? For most Nigerian politicians, impeachment would have meant the end. Some would have resorted to violence, mobilized thugs, or sought revenge. But not Peter Obi. Instead, he turned again to the courts. He believed in the Constitution, and he believed that his removal was illegal. So, he filed a case challenging his impeachment. The legal battle was tough. It dragged on for months. While the case was ongoing, Anambra was in a political crisis. The state had 3 different leadership struggles within a short time. But Obi remained calm, focused, and determined. He spent his days preparing for court, consulting lawyers, and rallying his supporters with words of patience and faith in the system. He often repeated that violence never brings lasting change. For him, the battle was not just about his office, but about setting a precedent that justice must prevail in Nigeria. On February 9, 2007, history was made. The Court of Appeal in Enugu delivered its judgment on Obi's case. The court declared that the impeachment was unconstitutional, null, and void. It ordered his immediate reinstatement as governor of Anambra State. For the second time in less than a year, Peter Obi walked back into the Anambra State Government House as governor. It was an extraordinary comeback. The same House of Assembly that impeached him just months earlier was forced to watch as the courts restored him to power. Nigerians across the country saw Obi's triumph as proof that justice was still possible in the nation's troubled democracy. Instead of destroying him, Obi's impeachment made him more popular. The people saw him as a victim of political injustice, a man who was punished for doing the right thing. His calm and lawful approach inspired admiration. He didn't fight with guns or bribes. He fought with patience, dignity, and the Constitution. By the time he returned to office, he had become a symbol of resilience in Nigerian politics. Peter Obi's impeachment and comeback teach us several important lessons. 1. Justice takes time, but it can prevail. Obi fought for 3 years to claim his mandate in 2003. He fought again for months to overturn his impeachment in 2006. Both times, he won. 2. Violence is not the answer. Unlike many politicians who resort to force, Obi relied solely on the courts. His patience showed that true leadership is about principle, not desperation. 3. Leadership means threatening the status quo. Obi's insistence on transparency and accountability made him enemies. But rather than bend, he stood firm, proving that true leaders serve the people, not the elite. 4. Failure can be a stepping stone to success. The impeachment, instead of ending his career, elevated him to national prominence. It made him a household name beyond Anambra. Obi's return in 2007 was only the beginning. In 2007, after barely a few months back in office, a new election was held, and Andy Yuba of the PDP was declared winner. Obi went back to court again, arguing that his 4-year term, which began in 2006, had not yet ended. Once again, the Supreme Court agreed with him, and in June 2007, Obi was restored as governor. This was his 3rd return to power, a political miracle in Nigeria's turbulent democracy. From that point, he served his full term and was later re-elected in 2010 for a 2nd term, completing his journey as one of Anambra's most stable and reform-minded governors. Peter Obi's impeachment in 2006 was meant to end his career. Instead, it defined it. He proved that resilience, faith in justice, and integrity can overcome even the dirtiest tricks of politics. His story remains a powerful lesson in leadership, that defeat is not the end, but often the beginning of a greater victory. As Obi himself often says, you can't fight darkness with darkness. Only light can overcome. And in 2006 to 2007, his light overcame.